from the Newton's second law. So that's Newton's second law, rotational version. So you have that the torque is the rate of change of angular momentum, but that's the angular momentum. Okay. And from this equation you might think that, okay, so first of all, this is the known and this is the unknown, right? And that's, okay. So from this equation you might think that this omega should be parallel to the torque that causes this rotation. But in fact, it's not that simple in rigid body dynamics because it is actually a matrix. And it's called tensor of inertia. And that's how it looks. I'm not going to show you all that because I don't know all that. And there are actually three directions. That's called the principal axis. They are such that this matrix, which acts when acts on the omega, produces the result that's going to be parallel to the omega. And these are called eigenvectors. So actually, omega turns out to be parallel to the torque only if the direction of the torque is parallel to the eigenvector of I, or to the principal axis of the object, which are only goes by the geometry of the object. Yeah, and I'm going to show you the principal axis of the Rattleback. Can you see it? You can't see it. So one principal axis is just vertical, and then two axes are like that. And here's the key: that they are, if this is the axis of symmetry, and they are slightly rotated. And you've seen that because the bottom is skewed and so on. Okay, so if you apply a torque which is parallel to one of the principal axes, for example this one, then obviously it's going to rotate around this axis. I mean, not obviously, it's going to rotate around this axis. But if we apply a torque like that, for example, it's not necessarily going to do that. Because, as you see, because omega is not going to be an eigenvector of I. So, in principle, this can come out. So, I omega is always parallel to the torque, but omega doesn't have to be. I hope I'm making it clear. I'm explaining this the second time only, so if you have questions, then ask me now. I know that at the first talk I completely confused everybody. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to the slide forces. So actually, let's consider this moment when it stops rotating and only oscillates. So this torque is not present because it doesn't rotate. It's only this torque, the restoring torque. And the restoring torque is always horizontal, right? But you've seen that the principal axis, so one principal axis is like that, one of them is like that, one of them is like that. But the thing oscillates. It oscillates like that, it oscillates like that, so all the axes move around. So actually this torque is never really parallel to any of the axes. So you might think that it only gives rise to angular velocity, that's going to be also in this direction. So it only is going to bring it back to horizontal. But it doesn't necessarily have to do that because the torque is not necessarily parallel to the principal axis. So actually there's no reason why the omega should be horizontal. It can have vertical components. So it may have, the body may have rotation around the horizontal axis, and that's what you see. And I'm afraid that's all I can explain. Oh, sorry, now you have to bring our notebook to surface. So, what I want to say.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So I haven't explained to you why you see what you see, But you see that it doesn't have to just do what you think, because the angular velocity as coast is not necessarily parallel to the torque. That's my explanation. Now let's wait for the ice.
They have frictionless materials so good you can ice skate on them.
Hmm?
They have frictionless plastics so good these days you can ice skate on them. You don't need actual ice.
Kind of material are these?
What?
Can you use skates as well?
Yeah, you just use normal skates on them. They're that frictionless.
Yeah.
I don't know what materials they have. Probably some complicated plastic polymer.
That's what I was wondering. What's the price then? So
Probably expensive.
that you
I don't know. I think
is it cheaper to get an ice skating rink which would be cooled down and pay for the cooling system, or have this low friction plastic? It would have to be pretty robust, you know.
Yeah, maybe
not
it
to
gets shaved off as well. I don't know.
because the skates themselves are very sharp.
Or not very sharp if you go to Oxford working, but they don't really care.
No?
No, they're not very good there.
Alright.
Well, you have your own.
I thought that they should be very sharp.
They are quite, but not like as sharp as you might. Not
Because I know that if you are buying your own, you actually then have to sharpen them every now and then. Because I actually have some.
Did you ever play ice hockey?
No.
Have you ever played alternative ice hockey at the ice rink?
On the grass?
No, it's like they do it at about midnight on like Wednesdays or Fridays. And if you don't play ice hockey,
What do they do?
you just turn up and play ice hockey. But like small games, not very violent.
Set in the ice rink.
At midnight?
Yeah, they always do that in midnight.
It's not perfectly smooth, I'm afraid, but
Oh, it's better than that.
It's good. Yeah. Okay. So now it needs some time, so I'm gonna show you. It's okay. So I'm gonna show you one more demonstration, maybe with my drumstick, to illustrate this this concept of principal axis and the torque not being parallel to the omega, right? So I'm gonna do it. So we have the drumstick, and its principal axes are. There can be viewed as, one is parallel to the drumstick, and two of them are just perpendicular, so like that and like that. So if I'm gonna drop it now, but I'm gonna apply the torque, so that starts rotating. So I'm just gonna apply the torque around this axis. I wasn't supposed to hit the table. So I'm gonna apply the torque like that. Okay, and you see that it starts rotating like that. So actually the omega is also vertical, just as the torque. But now I'm going to apply the torque, so that it rotates. I'm going to apply the torque around this axis again, the vertical axis, but now I'm going to hold the drumstick like that. So now the principal axis is like that, one like that, and one like that. So actually I'm applying the torque, which is not parallel to any of the axes. So maybe someone could expect the drumstick to do this, to rotate around the axis, then I'm applying torque around. But it's not going to do that. Look. It was actually rotating around the principal axis. It's actually quite easy to see that, because I can only apply the torque by putting one force here and one force here. But that's no different. Whether I want to rotate around this axis, this axis, this axis. But only wants to rotate around the principal axis. So there you go. Omega doesn't have to be parallel to the torque. That causes it. Okay, so let's see if the ice is ready. So remember, I told you that these perturbations that give rise to the reversal are mostly caused by friction. So now I'm going to try to do this experiment on ice, and we're going to see if it actually reverses direction. But, yeah, okay, so let's try it. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, so was that clockwise? It was clockwise.
Yeah,
Okay, are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Wow.
Nothing. Let's let's see it again. Maybe some different place because this one has a small mountain here. This one is good.
Small mountain.
No, this mountain.
You can't start it very because you can't without the friction.
Yeah. Because, no. Okay, now it's fine.
Amazing.
And you see nothing. Let's try the spoon.
Physics in action.
Now the spoon is bigger and it actually melts the ice. It's fresh, and let's see. And it doesn't reverse direction. Let's wait until it stops to do the real science. Wow. Nothing happened. Let's see the other direction. Now let's see when it stops.
This was really frictionless then. Would it stop off?
Well, I think that's the model of frictionless surface, so it shouldn't stop and reverse. Okay.
And
Now
if you do-
let's see.
What
counter-
tap it?
Yeah, what if you tap it?
Yeah, that's good. Actually, it made a hole already. Let's see. Maybe the Rattleback.
Too much pressure.
And now. Okay. I try to tap it. Okay, that's once more.
It's pretty warm in this room.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. It does something. I don't think it's reproducible. I think it's only because I'm not applying this exactly horizontally.
Push it, push it down and let it go. And
Yeah.
Okay.
gently.
And also the ice is not perfectly frictionless.
And it's also not
Yeah, that's
perfectly
right.
flat, I guess,
Yeah.
because of the way it
So actually, when you just do that, it actually rotates the right way. Let's see, because it reverses in this direction. Yeah. So actually, when I just press it like that, it slightly rotates in the direction it should be because of that. Okay, but there's one more thing that I think that this experiment doesn't have to be really a good experiment, because you see on ice there's this layer of water, and it actually dumps the oscillations. I'm going to demonstrate that to you too. So I'm going to take some water.
We should do it in vacuum.
So you see there's a drop of water here, and now I'm going to just do it on a table. Well, it actually worked, but not that good. So I think that's another factor that might have disturbed our experiment. But anyway, so we've seen the mechanism, we've seen why it doesn't work, how we think it should, and I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you have gotten some intuition and insight into this. So thank you for your attention. And I'm open for questions.